Hey everybody, it's Crypto-Anarchist here, and I'm going to be bringing you guys a video today on why the alt-right is getting a lot of things wrong with cryptocurrencies and how the alt-right is actually using cryptocurrencies to hurt their own goals. This is kind of interesting to me because I do actually, I'm an anarchist, so I'm not a part of the alt-right whatsoever. But the one thing that's really boggled my mind recently is how white conservatives let the left wing just destroy everything they've been built, and then they don't do anything about it. So I at least like the existence of the alt-right, because whites are being, technically speaking, what the United States government is doing to white Americans, and this is true in Europe too, white Europeans, these governments are committing genocide against white people in these areas by definition. The legal definition of genocide, it means you're either deliberately killing these people, or you are deliberately inflicting conditions of life on these people in order to prevent births and forcibly transferring children from of the group to another group. So it's this last bit right here that Western governments are doing, the genocide that Western governments are doing to white Americans and Europeans, and it's that basically everything related to taxes is made to make it so that minorities have higher birth rates and whites don't. And we can just look at this right here. If we look at the welfare stats, percent of welfare recipients who are white or Caucasian. Just so you guys know, there's a lot of Hispanics that are included in the white category. Not all Hispanics are considered Hispanic, and I think Egyptians are technically considered white. So there's a lot of white does not mean European in this, but even if we have all these extra people added into the white group who aren't actually white, the percent of welfare recipients that are white is 16.8%. Obviously, blacks are the highest in terms of welfare recipients. That's no surprise there. They don't like to work. And then you got Hispanics and Asian and Pacific Islander. Which those are obviously much higher than whites, but in accordance to their percentage of the population, they're not terribly high. So basically, all your tax money right now in white Western worlds or white Western countries, it goes to pay for children of, Daquan, of Muhammad, all these kids that these degenerates have, and they're not going to be fathers for their kids, and so the people who end up having to pay for these kids and act as parents for these kids are whites. Now that's technically speaking, according to the definition of genocide, that is genocide against whites. So I really like that the alt-right is coming out really hard against, Western governments and things like that. But my problem with them is, I don't want to necessarily insult the alt-right, but they don't seem to be all that smart. Not, at least a lot of them aren't all that smart. So let's go ahead and just begin with a video here from Lauren Southern where she's talking about cryptocurrencies. Now I bring up Lauren Southern because she's probably got more views than anybody else here in, what would be considered the alt-right. I don't know if she considers herself part of the alt-right, but this video is kind of hilarious because she's talking about, what is cryptocurrency and all this stuff, and she's talking about how she specifically bought Ethereum. Okay, of all the coins to buy, she bought Ethereum. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Ethereum, the developers have openly come out. They've said they're communists. They've openly come out and said that they are going to censor people who use their platform. Richard Spencer came out and said that Bitcoin was sort of like the currency of the alt-right, the unofficial currency of the alt-right, and then immediately afterwards, Vitalik Buterin's like, we're going to censor you guys off of our platform. So that's another reason, I like Vitalik Buterin, but I'll never buy any Ethereum ever because I would be one of the people getting censored off the platform, I would assume. And if you're censoring people off the platform, then you're not actually a cryptocurrency. But anyways, yeah, so Lauren Southern, she's advocating for people within the alt-right to buy a cryptocurrency that if they buy that cryptocurrency, the people who control it are going to try and censor them off the platform. Not very smart. Don't listen to her. The next person who we're going to talk about here is James Allsop. He's talking about a bunch of cryptocurrencies. Now, the cryptocurrencies he brings up are Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. We've already talked about Ethereum, controlled by communists, people who want to censor right-wing people off the platform. They've already said that openly. They want to censor right-wing people off the platform. So why are these guys in the alt-right, who are the people that would be censored off the platform, why are they advocating for people to buy Ethereum? I don't know. The other two that this guy brings up is Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I'll tell you right now, James Allsop from this interview, it seems like he's pretty new to cryptocurrencies, so I'm not saying he should be an expert or anything. I don't even know if he's ever bought any. But he brings up Bitcoin and Litecoin, and now we've already talked over this on this channel before, Bitcoin and Litecoin use SegWit, and SegWit makes a cryptocurrency censorable because whoever owns the Lightning hubs can censor multiple users. Like if you own a Lightning hub, there's a good chance that, you know, probably 10% of the payments that go through you'll be able to censor. I don't know the exact number, unless the only way you won't be able to censor them as a Lightning Hub owner individually is if the Lightning Network is run off a hub and spoke model, which means you have highly centralized and very large Lightning hubs. The reason why you can't censor as an individual, like if you're an individual Lightning hub, the only way to censor people individually is if they can only use your Lightning hub to route their transaction. So that's the way it will be if they're not centralizing the Lightning hubs with like large corporations and stuff. But even if they do move towards large corporations owning the Lightning hubs, meaning they would have a lot of connections to a lot of different people, the corporations can they can collude and they can censor off the platform anybody that they want. And corporations are already censoring right-wing people all the time. So why, again, there's like the alt-right, you guys gotta, if you guys want to be successful, quit advocating for cryptocurrencies that you will be censored off of. There's nothing you can do to stop being censored off of this. Another person who was talking about cryptocurrencies who would be considered alt-right is Nick Fuentes. I hope I said his name right. I think I said his name right. Nicholas J. Fuentes. But anyways, he doesn't really specifically, or at least as far as I went through this video, I didn't watch the full hour long. He actually had some good points on what Bitcoin is, like what Bitcoin basically is. But again, he made a bunch of errors when he said like you can't be censored on Bitcoin. Yes, you can. You know, you can be censored on any cryptocurrency that uses SegWit, and the people who will be censored are the alt-right. So I hope Nick Fuentes does not own any Bitcoin. I really hope he doesn't. I hope he purchased like, you know, Bitcoin Cash or, you know, Zcash, Zcoin, anything else, anything that doesn't have SegWit, I hope he purchased, but who really knows? The one that really boggles my mind is these guys here at Red Ice. Now, Red Ice, they're kind of into, they like to walk the line between asking, you know, the JQ, the Jewish question. You know, they don't really bring it up, but they kind of present themselves as believers in the Jewish question, which, you know, whatever. I'm not going to get into that here on this video, but the thing that I think is hilarious, if you look down in the information down below the video, look at the cryptocurrencies that they're pushing right there. They've got Ripple, Ethereum, IOTA, and I don't know much about Cardano, but let's talk about those three: Ripple, Ethereum, and IOTA. We already talked about Ethereum is owned by communists who want to censor. They've publicly come out on Twitter and said they are going to censor people off of their platform that they don't want to use it, which is people in the alt-right, people they consider to be Nazis. You know, and who's a Nazi? I don't know. The left likes to say everybody's a Nazi. I would guarantee you they would say Red Ice people are Nazis because they like to walk the line on this Jewish question thing here. So I guarantee you that Red Ice would be censored off of this, but they're promoting it, which is, it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you promoting cryptocurrencies that your audience is going to get fucked over if they try to buy? Now, I'm not saying like in the short term they're going to get fucked over. I'm just saying long term, if Ethereum takes off, the developers already said they're going to censor you off it. Now let's look at the other two cryptos there that I talked about. IOTA first. IOTA specifically spends their money on helping refugees in Europe, like African and, you know, Muslim refugees in Europe. Is that like, if you buy IOTA, you're helping refugees move from Africa and the Middle East to Europe and America. So why is someone from Red Ice, the alt-right, who they hate that mass migration, they see it as a destruction of their country, which it is, but why are they pushing IOTA? Can anybody tell me this? I don't know. And then there's Ripple, which Ripple is the most centralized and controlled coin in existence. Ripple transactions, they're reversible, which means that they can be completely censored. So why is somebody from Red Ice talking about using a cryptocurrency that can be censored when it, like, people like Red Ice, the people on Red Ice, they're going to be the first people to be censored? Why does everyone on the alt-right advocate for cryptocurrencies that they're going to get censored off of? Now, the one person, the only person who really has gotten this right is Richard Spencer. Now, Richard Spencer, I think the price of Bitcoin, let me look this up real quick. The price of Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure, was significantly higher than it is today when he made this video. So it was a pretty prescient call by him. Pretty prescient call for him to say, you know, Bitcoin's in a bubble. Don't go for it. Yeah, I guess the price of Bitcoin on December 7th when this video was released was around $15,000. So pretty good call by him. You know, quite a good call by him to come out and say, hey, you know, you really probably shouldn't be investing in Bitcoin. And the reason why he said you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin is he says that people aren't actually buying it to use it right now. So he didn't even make the argument that, you know, people can't be censored from it. Although I think Richard might actually understand that, because some of the people on the alt-right aren't all that bright. Richard's really smart. I think Richard used to be an anarcho-capitalist, but he kind of moved over towards the alt-right, which, you know, whatever. That's his own decision. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody has to be an ANCAP, but it does seem very interesting that the smartest of the alt-right, you know, are very closely associated with ANCAPs, like maybe used to be ANCAPs. I've always thought that the alt-right is kind of like anarcho-capitalists with 20 or so fewer IQ points. But Richard's a smart guy, and he really made a lot of good points in this video. Said, you know, people aren't really using it to, or buying it to use it. They're just buying it to sell it later on, which means that all the buy pressure is actually future sell pressure, which is that was a very good point that he made. But again, you guys, like, for the alt-right, just in case, like, if you've made it this far through the video, you've heard me say that all SegWit coins, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Vertcoin, any coin that has SegWit activated, they can all be censored. So how can they be censored? Well, the reason why they're censored, whereas something like Bitcoin Cash, which, like, if the alt-right's going to get into cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin Cash is probably what it wants, because you can't be censored from it, and it's also headed by the most right-wing people within cryptocurrencies. Like Roger Ver is far more right-wing than basically anybody else. So is Jihan Wu. Even though he's a little bit crazy, James McAfee is real right-wing as well, or at least right-wing in his business practices. But anyways, the reason why the right-wing people, you know, the right-wing people, they're in control of Bitcoin Cash, and for Bitcoin Cash, the people who root your transactions and accept your transactions, it's just a miner. So it's any miner can include any transaction in a block. All you have to do is find the block. So it doesn't matter how, like, even if the biggest mining cartel is for censoring transactions, any other miner that wins the block will be able to include your transaction eventually. So it might, like, if even if you had massive collusion within Bitcoin Cash, you could not have your transactions censored. The worst thing that could happen is your transactions might, you know, it might take 2 or 3 blocks for them to be accepted rather than 1. Okay, so there's no censorship within Bitcoin Cash, but the same is not true for anyone who uses SegWit and SegWit's version of Lightning. So this is Bitcoin SegWit. Bitcoin SegWit, for all you people on the alt-right who don't know, it's the highest valued cryptocurrency. It's the number one. It's the one you call Bitcoin, but it's not really Bitcoin. But for Lightning hubs, not every Lightning hub can route your channel where it needs to go. So the miners, they can all route your transaction. They can all accept it. But the Lightning hubs, they cannot. So it's up to those few Lightning hubs that can route your transactions. Like, if they want to censor you, they can. If they don't want to censor you, they can't. So with Bitcoin, there's no risk, or Bitcoin Cash, there's no risk of being censored, like, at all. And with Lightning hubs, there's a very big risk. And just so you guys know, the only way Lightning works, like you people on the alt-right, the only way the Lightning network works is if these hubs are massive corporations. So who is it that is censoring you guys right now? It's massive corporations, and these massive corporations are going to be the same people who control the Lightning hubs. So if you want to not ever be able to use the Bitcoin that you bought, then, you know, buy Bitcoin SegWit. If you want to actually use the Bitcoin you bought, buy Bitcoin Cash. It's that simple. But anyways, that's the end of my video here. I really hope the alt-right gets their shit together, because I like a lot of what they're saying. It's just they never have good solutions. You know, they never have good solutions. They're like, oh, the Zionist banking cartel controls all of money and it's trying to kill off whites, so let's use Ethereum, which wants to censor all, you know, white Nazis off the platform, when they say Richard Spencer's a white Nazi, which I'm pretty sure he's publicly come out and said he's not a National Socialist. So it's just stupid to me. It's just stupid. I really hope the alt-right gets their shit together, starts using cryptocurrencies in an intelligent way, because, like, if you go back to someone like Lauren Southern, she's been censored off of the Patreon platform and things like this. And it's like, why are you moving? Like, you're moving from one platform that's going to censor you to another when platforms already exist that cannot censor you. I just don't get why they make these mistakes. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more coming out soon.